Just play the damn thing.
So a couple weeks ago, I did a video on 6 current guitar myths, and in that video, I asked you guys to leave comments about some other guitar myths that might be among your favorites, guitar myths that I either forgot about or maybe even haven't heard of or haven't thought about myself, stuff like that. And this comment was left on that video. This isn't really a myth, but that's the one it was left on, so I'm going to read it. The myth: Gibson guitars have miraculously become better built and the company began to care about their customers after their bankruptcy. Well, when you think of guitar companies that are very heavily criticized, there's Gibson and everybody else is a distant second. Gibson gets a lot of criticism, and granted, under their previous leadership, they absolutely deserved most of it. And I am not innocent in this. One of my very first viral YouTube videos was a video that was very, very critical of Gibson. I've since taken it down. For fear that it might be construed as a spark of interest with my full-time employer at the time. But I readily, fully admit I am not innocent. Okay, Gibson have found their way into my crosshairs more than once. But here's the thing. That was 2018. In 2019, they filed bankruptcy, as this comment mentions, and part of that bankruptcy, the end result was they were acquired by an investment firm called KKR, and part of that deal included Henry Juskowitz, the former CEO, being ousted, and they replaced him with a man named James. James, I think, is his first name. He goes by J.C. Curley. Who was he's a guitar player himself, but he was also previously the CEO of Levi's, the famous blue jeans and apparel company. Now he came in and he did interviews and even did some interviews with a few of the larger guitar YouTube channels, and really got the guitar community excited for what Gibson's future was going to behold. And overall, I think he did a pretty good job. Now, I'm not going to pretend like they haven't still made some boneheaded decisions under his regime. They posted a video of a new Les Paul that had a cracked headstock or a giant scratch, finish blemish on it, as their stock photo of that guitar. The custom shop, they came out with that weird, stupid looking tulip looking thing that that I literally just laughed at in a video. And let's not forget about their famous YouTube video. Yes, I'm referring to the one that coined the now famous phrase, "play authentic." I don't know what they were thinking with that one. Now, most of those were still pretty early on in the JC, what I'll refer to as the JC regime. Now, here in the last couple of years, they seem to have kept their names out of the public eye for the wrong reasons and just started focusing on guitars. Have you guys noticed we don't have any more robot shit anymore? No more robot guitars. The guitars with the where the volume pots and all that shit were mounted to PCBs on the inside of the guitar. Most of that stuff's gone too. They actually went back to just soldering in potentiometers. Meanwhile, to please the customers that do like some of those more modern appointments, they have still maintained, various different guitar models will still have the push-pull pots with the blow switches and the coil splits and all that kind of stuff that those things do. There are still offerings with those, again, to appease those particular customers. Now, while I recognize that Gibson's quality is still a long way from consistent, I get that. Some of it they may be able to control a little bit better than they do, and some of it, I imagine, is probably outside of their control, which a lot of people don't give them credit for. Let's face it, even the most perfect guitar warehouse with the most perfect humidity conditions on the planet, if a guitar sits in that environment in a box long enough, stuff's going to happen to it, and that's just how guitars work. If they sit long enough, things move, and adjustments need to be made, and therefore a perfect guitar no longer comes out of the box. Now, even Sweetwater still sends back probably 2 or 3 out of every 10 Gibson guitars that they receive, because they simply just don't pass their, you know, what the 127 point inspection, whatever, however many points their inspection, their guitar inspection process is. You know, they run in, you know, somewhere between, you know, between 20 and 30% of them still have enough issues that they don't pass those tests and they get shipped back to Gibson. Now, what Gibson does with those guitars when they get them back, that is, you know, that seems to be a bit of a mystery. It's kind of hard to get a real firm answer on what becomes of those. You know, do they just box them up and ship them to another dealer who likely won't send them back, or do they actually, you know, properly repair them first, and you know, and then send them back either to Sweetwater or somebody else? You know, not sure. I'm going to work under the assumption that it's probably somewhere, you know, the answer is probably somewhere in between those two. So, you know, we'll call it a 50-50 shot. So I'm not pretending like they're perfect. We know they're not perfect. I think, you know, I have had Gibson reps themselves tell me to my face that Gibson is not perfect. One rep in particular even told me one time, he said, Gibsons are not perfect. If you want perfect, go buy PRS. That was his exact words. But I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they have absolutely gotten better. The last few new Gibsons that I've gotten my hands on were absolutely good quality guitars. You know, this is without getting into the, you know, they're still overpriced and they still should be charging this much for, go fuck yourselves, okay? You know, the market is what it is, the industry is what it is, inflation is what it is, the economy is what it is. You know, so that's why their guitars cost what they cost. And Gibson's branding and reputation is what it is, and whether anybody likes it or not, that's still a very, very valuable tool for them. That's why Gibson Les Paul Custom nowadays costs $54.99. That's the production model. That's not the custom shop stuff. That's the regular run-of-the-mill production model. $54.99 for a white Les Paul Custom. The Ebony one still seems to be $49.99 for some reason. So here is my challenge to you all. Everybody, go down to your local guitar shop, whatever your favorite guitar shop is that carries Gibsons, and check and pull down a few of them off the wall. See what they're offering you for the money. You know, with an objective perspective, by the way. You know, that's taken into account that, you know, guitars, you know, sometimes still need to be set up, and adjustments need to be made, and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's not a guitar on the planet that doesn't need that stuff from time to time. But look at the QC marks. You know, the fit and finish, the fretwork, you know, the binding, if there is any. You know, that kind of stuff. Check out that stuff and see where you land, because the last few that I have seen have, as I mentioned, have once again been pretty good quality instruments. Instruments that I myself would be proud to own. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Gibson guy. And I am a Gibson guy, by the way. You know, again, I admit I've been really, really critical of them in the past, but that's because I love Gibsons and I want them to produce awesome instruments that I love. But I encourage everybody to go take a look at them. You know, I haven't seen much from their 2024 lineup this year, other than they have announced that you know, their big 4 acoustic models, the J45, the Dove, the Hummingbird, and the SJ200 are all getting a blacked out version. Basically, they're getting the Les Paul Custom tuxedo treatment on all 4 of those models. They're calling them the Ebony series, I believe. That's really the only thing they've announced. My understanding is they weren't even at the NAMM show this year, because I stopped going to the NAMM show for, you know, various different reasons, and it kind of seems to be turning into more and more of a circus every year. You know, I was critical of them for that a few years ago, but I'm starting to begin to think maybe it's not such a bad idea anymore, that, you know, they focus their marketing in other areas. So, has Gibson really improved their quality? I think they have. And I want everybody who views this video to go down to their favorite guitar shop sometime in the next couple days, couple weeks, and just pull down a couple of production model Gibsons and see what you're getting. And then leave a comment down below under this video. You know, and then I will address those comments, and we'll talk more about this in another video here in a couple weeks. And to be clear, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I have a trip to my local Guitar Center planned this afternoon. There's also a music go-round directly across the street from them. I may pop in there as well and just see what what used Gibsons they have and what kind of shape they're in. So just so we all know, I am participating in this experiment as well. But the reason why I'm posing this is because I think there are a lot of sheeple and their placebo that are still trashing Gibson guitars, saying that they're still junk and they're still this and they're still not doing this the way they're supposed to, etc., 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 yada, yada, yada. Again, placebo effect. Guitar players are the biggest bunch of whiny little bitches, as I have said on this channel many, many times. And, we hear somebody griping about something on the internet, and it's a lot easier for everybody to just jump on board without finding out for themselves. So, here on this channel, we are going to find out for ourselves. Go check out some Gibsons, report back here, and we'll see you soon.